So, before we get into recording the lead vocals, you might notice that we're both standing, which looks a bit bizarre, but that's because that's actually how we work. Usually we've got a standing desk, which apparently is becoming a bit more common now with a lot of producers, because basically just when you're working lots of hours, you end up getting a sore back. So that's why we're doing that, just so you know.
There's nothing more technical than that to it.
Yeah.
Basically, when we're recording vocals, particularly lead vocals, because they're so exposed so much of the time, you want the room to be as treated as it can be to sound good. And this doesn't mean spending thousands of pounds getting someone to come and completely make your room look totally different with things on the walls and everything, but doing what you can. So even things like we've got a corner of the room over there that's quite exposed and empty, so we've got a big sofa. That dampens so much sound. Having things in the room, guitar bags, things on the walls. If you've got a big blank space of wall, put something over it. And big one is windows, because glass reflects the sound quite a lot, and it's really hard to get rid of this in processing later on. So putting down the blinds, closing curtains, whatever you've got. So usually when we record vocals, we've got all the blinds down. The room feels really dark and isolated, so it's keeping out as many echoes and background noises as you can to make it easier later on. So when we're actually recording, we use a Shure SM27 mic, which is a great mic for a lot of things. Not unbelievably expensive, as some mics are. You don't need to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on different mics for everything. The reason we use this is you can use it for different things. You can use it for recording guitars, drum overheads, and vocals, as we do, and we've never found it to not be effective. But this means we've got this vocal isolation shield around here, which blocks more of the noise because it's omnidirectional, which means it records noise from all around. And there'd be too many echoes bouncing off the walls and everything if you didn't have that, and a pop filter in front of it. You don't need this for all mics. If you've got some mics that people can use, you can sit down, hold it in your hand. You don't need to worry that much about background noise, but you do sometimes get into really expensive territory if you're talking about these. So this is a really good multi-purpose mic to do a lot of things with.
Yeah, that was the Shure SM27, in case you asked that.
Okay, so on to recording your vocals. Big thing that's really important is where you are in relation to the mic. So a usual rule that we sort of use is about a fist away from the mic, have the pop filter, and then another fist, have your face. Usually sounds quite good if you do that. So sort of a few inches away, but there are no sort of set rules. You can try new things. A bit further away might sound better, or if you want a really upfront vocal, going a bit closer, but watching that it doesn't sound muffled or anything. So recording it and trying it and then getting something that sounds good and using that for whatever suits. Every mic's different as well, so some mics you can go a lot closer than others. Another thing that's important to mention, I think, is backing vocals. If you're recording something and you want a big group sound, for something more anthemic sounding, don't know, bigger, stand further away, get that more open sound. Try two people recording at the same time in the same room to make it sound more like a group. Record loads of takes of that, and you can make it sound like a group quite quickly with just one or two people, or going a bit to the left or the right or above and below. Something might sound quite good and you listen to that and think, we're going to try that. So it's all about experimenting.
So Mark is going to now do a sound check for us so that we can see that the levels are all right. We use a Zoom R16 audio interface. It's quite old, but it's served us really well. So he's coming out of input 6. So can you just give us a little bit of a bash of the first line, Mark?
Tell me I'm not wasting my time.
So the levels are looking all right there. You just want to watch that there's no peaking and that we've got a bit of headroom. Let's try that again.
Tell me I'm not wasting my time.
That looks pretty good to go. When we start recording, we'll keep an eye on the levels just to make sure they're all right, but I think we're good to do some takes to see how we go on. So we've closed the blinds so that there's no sound reflections, so it should sound nice. And the most important thing you want when you're about to record vocals is you want the singer to just feel relaxed. There's nothing worse than if you're about to sing and you're not entirely sure where you're coming in, or you're not too sure about the headphones or the mic levels or the level of the instrumental. So just let the singer be the diva. If you're the producer while the singer's singing, let them sort of play around with the levels until they're happy and they know exactly what they're doing. We would usually have a printout of the lyrics as well, or we would have them on a phone. And yeah, so what we would now do is we would loop a certain section, most likely, to record just in small chunks, Some singers like to do a sort of full take of the full song, but for this sort of music, we tend not to do that probably. Is that right?
Yeah, so what we do for this, kind of break it down really particularly, because dance music, so much of it's about repetition and hooks. As well, sending stuff to DJs, they may just want a small part of it, so it helps them if it's broken down into smaller chunks. So for this, the line, "tell me I'm not wasting my time," comes in frequently, so having that recorded on its own, getting that perfect, and then you can cut that and put it in wherever you need to be will save a lot of time than doing the full thing and having to go over that bit and edit it to make it sound as good as it did last time. So get a good take, keep that and use it throughout the song.
Yeah, so what we did for this song was we did the lines leading up to the "wasting my time" hook and recorded them separately. So we're just going to demonstrate that now. So we've looped that section in Logic, and we'll just do a few takes of that and see how we get on. Sometimes if we would maybe notice that there was a lyrical thing we wanted to change because maybe the timing of one of the words wasn't quite how we imagined it would be when we wrote it. So we would maybe make small alterations even at this point while we're recording it. So we'll give this a go and see how we get on. You ready?
Yep.
Cool.
You know you break me down, I can't get out, but I try.
Yeah, I think that felt like it could probably be just a little bit more punchy.
Yeah.
So that at this point as well, like this would be where we would. That's a phrase that I use quite a lot when recording the lead vocals, because with dance music, you want it to be really sort of like punchy, and quite often it takes quite a few takes of really sort of trying to push that.
And a lot of the time it feels unnaturally like pronouncing every word perfectly and over exaggerating how much you're going for it so that it's really clear when you listen to it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel as natural. So you do need to get used to recording for a recording of a song is different to just singing naturally.
Yeah, and that actually wasn't planned, but Mark just naturally sang the way most people would, where you would sort of like, you're maybe not quite giving it your full pelt on a first go. So let's try another take, if we can, that's just giving it a little bit more force and really trying to enunciate the words as well. Good?
Yeah.
Cool.
You know you break me down, I can't get out, but I try. You know you break me down, I can't get out, but I try. Yeah. So now we've recorded a few takes of that, we're going to go on to our next video where we will show you how we get all of those takes, pick out the best bits from each one and make it sound like a smooth line that was all recorded at once.